Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rated L for Lore, the podcast where I, your host, Ashley Day, talks about video game lore and popular gaming theories. We are on episode 7? Episode 7, I think? Yeah, episode 7. We're on episode 7. And I don't know how this is gonna go because currently I'm not in my office with my current setting. I'm at my parents' house watching their dogs for the day. So, also, if you hear some doggos, it's because I'm watching two sweet, sweet baby doggos. I hope they don't start barking while I'm doing this, but they might, so you never know. It's fine. It's fine. Also, this isn't my usual mic that I'm using to record this, but this mic's pretty legit. It picks up a lot, and it's doing a pretty good job. So, yeah, just so if there's any audio weirdness that's different from the usual audio weirdness, that's why. Also, life update. I almost was gonna push back this episode just because I had to go to urgent care a couple days ago. I somehow strained my shoulder or something, and it's been so unbearably painful. And I'm only just starting to get the effects of the painkillers and not being agonizing pain all the time. So my notes were super rushed. Luckily, I started on my notes the day before I ended up in such bad pain that I couldn't sleep or focus on anything besides being in so much goddamn pain. But yeah, so sorry if this episode isn't up to snuff. I didn't mean to procrastinate this time. Life just got in the way. So, without further ado, let's get into episode 7's topic. The game we are covering this week is Fallout. Not Fallout 3, not New Vegas, not 4, the original Fallout. Also called, well, the full title being Fallout, a post-nuclear role-playing game, but it's also referred to simply as Fallout. So Fallout, a post-nuclear role-playing game, was developed by Interplay and its division Dragonplay, and was self-published on September 30th, 1997, and is the first game in the Fallout series. Fallout is seen as the spiritual successor to Interplay's classic 1987 CRPG Wasteland. The designers proposed many titles, but they agreed on titling it Armageddon. However, they found out that another Interplay project was going to use that title, so they were obligated to switch again, and Fallout was the team's favorite among the remainder. So the really cool thing about Fallout was that it created this character creation system called Special. Initially, they wanted to use GURPS, GURPS, which is the generic universal role-playing system, which it's a tabletop role-playing system that basically to set your character's attributes, you roll a die. And so they wanted to do something like that for Fallout, but they ended up creating Special, which is the acronym for Strength, Perception, Endurance, Charisma, Intelligence, Agility, and Luck. And these 7 basic attributes make up every single character in the game, and they're used to determine the skills and perks for any given character. So, with the skills, there are 18 different skills in the game that are ranked from 0% to 200%. The starting values for those skills at level 1 are determined by the basic special attributes, but most of those skills would fall between 0% and 50%. And then every time a character gains a level, they'll be awarded skill points to be used to improve their skills, which then equals to 5 points plus twice their intelligence. The players may choose to tag 3 of the 18 skills, and a tag skill will improve at twice the normal rate. So there are 6 combat skills, which are small guns, big guns, energy weapons, unarmed, melee weapons, and throwing. There are 8 active skills, which are First Aid, Doctor, Sneak, Lockpick, Steal, Traps, Science, and Repair. And then there are 4 passive skills, which are Speech, Barter, Gambling, and Outdoorsman. Books found throughout the game can also improve some of the skills permanently, although books are scarce early in the game. And after a skill reaches a certain level, books no longer have any impact on the skill. Some NPCs can also improve skills via training. How high a skill can be developed is affected by the character's attributes. Like a character with low intelligence will not be able to boost their science rating as high as a character with high intelligence, just as an example. So some skills can also be improved while having certain items equipped. For example, equipping lockpicks would improve the lockpicking skill. Chems can also temporarily boost characters' skills. However, they often had adverse effects such as addiction and withdrawal, which is something we see as still prevalent throughout the series. So as skills grow higher in rating, they begin to cost more skill points to increase as well. So there are also some different traits and perks. So at character creation, the player may choose 2 different traits and perks for their character. Traits are special character backgrounds. Most traits have profound effects on gameplay. And a trait normally contains 1 beneficial effect and 1 detrimental effect. They are listed under perks in the character sheet, and once a trait is chosen, it is impossible to change except through the mutate perk that lets them change 1 trait 1 time. So we got some background. So now we're going to talk about the whole plot line and story of the game and all that good lore stuff. So the game is set in a post-apocalyptic world following the Great War, which is a nuclear war that occurred on October 23rd, 2077. This war is seen through all of the games, but here's where we hear about its origin a bit more. So the war lasted less than 2 hours but caused immense damage and destruction. Before the Great War came the Resource Wars, during which the United Nations had disbanded. A plague rendered the United States paranoid, and Canada was annexed. The game itself for Fallout takes place in 2161, 84 years after the Great War, in Southern California, and begins in Vault 13. And Vault 13 is the protagonist's home. So Vault 13's water chip, which is a computer chip responsible for water recycling and pumping machinery, has broken. The Vault Overseer then tasks the protagonist with finding a replacement. They are given a portable device called the Pip-Boy 2000, which keeps track of map making, quest objectives, and various bookkeeping aspects. So armed with the Pip-Boy 2000 and meager equipment, the protagonist is sent out into the remains of California to find another water chip, which is much different from any of the other games that I've seen where you're kind of just breaking out of the vault. I know I've never played Fallout 1, but I've always been really intrigued because I'm a huge fan of Fallout 3 and New Vegas mostly. 4 is pretty alright too, but Fallout 3 is my favorite. So it's really cool to kind of look back and see where it all started and how a lot of these things evolved into different games as the, franchise has expanded. So we'll talk about some of the characters now. So the protagonist of Fallout is one of the vault dwellers for Vault 13. And these vaults are government contracted Fallout shelters. And just if you live in one, you're known as a vault dweller. So the protagonist is governed by the special character system, which was designed specifically for Fallout and used in the other games in the series, which we have already talked about. At the end of the game, the vault dweller would be exiled from Vault 13 and eventually found Arroyo, I'm saying that totally wrong, which is the starting point for Fallout 2. So the Chosen One, / the protagonist in Fallout 2, is the descendant of this original vault dweller from Vault 13 in Fallout 1, which is actually interesting because I had no knowledge of that whatsoever. Eventually we're going to cover Fallout 2, but it's cool to see that those 2 games are much more interconnected than the other ones. I know also Bethesda kind of took over the Fallout series for Fallout 3. So Fallout 1 and 2 kind of are their own standalone things with interplay. So these are the recruitable non-player characters. Because there's a diverse section of various recruitable NPCs that can be found to aid the player in the post-apocalyptic wasteland. Unlike in Fallout 2, there's no limit to the number of NPCs that may be recruited in Fallout. Their statistics and armor remain unchanged through the entire game, and only their weapons may be upgraded. Which actually, that's kind of cool, but I can understand them kind of capping that off, especially because I know by 3 you only get like the one companion. So, Ian is a former caravan guard that can be found in Shady Sands and is the first recruitable NPC that the player typically meets. He is an experienced traveler and gunman, and he can equip any pistol or 10mm submachine gun, including large handguns, and wears a leather jacket. So Dogmeat, who I'm pretty sure he's in all the Fallout games, which is great because Dogmeat's my favorite. He is the true OG. He is the only non-human NPC that can be recruited, and he can be found in Junktown outside of Phil's house, preventing him from entering his house. The dog may be attracted by either wearing a leather jacket or feeding the dog an iguana on a stick. After that, he will follow the player. So there is these next 2 names I'm probably going to butcher, so I'm just going to pick a pronunciation and run with it. So Taicho is a former desert ranger now living in Junktown. He can wield rifles, shotguns, and spears. And Katya is a disillusioned follower of the apocalypse that may be recruited in the library in the LA Boneyard. She can fight unarmed and wield SMGs. I'm sorry if this feels a little out of step or like a little discombobulated, but like your girl needs to get an episode out, and your girl has been in unbearable pain, so your girl would appreciate a little bit of slack, please, and thank you. So in Fallout, the player initially has 150 days, which is 4 to 5 months according to the Overseer, before the vault's water supply runs out. This timeline can be extended by 100 days if they commission merchants in the hub to send water caravans to Vault 13. Upon returning the chip, the Vault Dweller is then tasked with destroying a mutant army that threatens humanity. A mutant known as the Master, previously known as Richard Gray, has begun using a pre-war genetically engineered virus called Forced Evolutionary Virus to convert humanity into a race of super mutants and bring them together in the Unity, which is his plan for a perfect world. The player has to kill him and destroy the military base housing the supply of the Forced Evolutionary Virus, thus halting the invasion before it can start. If both objectives are not completed within 500 game days, the mutant army will discover Vault 13 and invade it, bringing an end to the game. This time limit is shortened to 400 days if Vault 13's location is divulged to the water merchants. A cinematic cutscene of mutants overrunning the vault is shown if the task to stop the mutant army is failed within the time frame, indicating the player has lost. If the player agrees to join the mutant army, the same cinematic cutscene is shown. So with version 1.1 of the game, the time limit for the mutant attack on Vault 13 is nearly eliminated to a maximum of 13 in-game years, allowing players to explore the game world at their leisure. Which I think that's kind of cool. I do like there being like a pressing time limit, but one of my favorite things about Fallout is that it's like open world and there's so much to explore and there's just so many cool things to do. So I think it's cool that with that update to the game or different version of the first Fallout, I think that really paved the way for the future games to be as they are. So the player can defeat the Master and destroy the super mutants' military base in either order. When both threats are eliminated, a cutscene shows the player automatically returning to Vault 13, where they are told that they have done great things for the Vault and all of humanity, but if they come back, everyone would want to leave the Vault, and that the Vault Dweller must leave for the good of the Vault. Thus, they are rewarded with exile into the desert for, in the Overseer's eyes, the good of the Vault. Which is, honestly, that's kind of sad. Like, you come back and you expect like a hero's praise and glory, and like to just kind of go back to your simple life of not having to worry about mutants and dying in the cold, unforgiving wastes after the apocalypse. And instead you're turned out and told to leave. That's, man. Is he, you know, is the Vault Dweller still considered the Vault Dweller even after he's no longer allowed to dwell within the vault? That's today's question. So there is an alternate non-canon ending available if the player has the Bloody Mess trait and has accrued significant negative karma throughout the game, or performs the action manually, in which the Vault Dweller shoots the Overseer. That's another thing that I think is really cool with the Fallout series, is having karma. Like, my favorite thing about Fallout 3, because it's plays such an important role in that game, is whether you get a lot of good karma or bad karma, or you're neutral, because it affects how people see you. Because I know in Fallout 3 that if you do a lot of bad things and you have a lot of bad karma, that sometimes you'll just walk into a town and, oh, suddenly everyone's shooting you because you're that awful. I know a lot of things are unlocked to you by having good karma. There's things that, like, you miss out on by just being neutral, but, like, I really like how your choices matter in that game, because there are things that permanently change depending on your choices. And really, Fallout 3 is the game that really got me into like RPGs and stuff, and especially games that have choice, because I just think that's so cool. Actually, the first few times I've played Fallout 3, so I've never beaten the game. I probably could have beaten it at least 4 or 5 times if I hadn't, like, within the first, like, I don't know, year of having the game, I literally never got past or too far past Megaton and Tenpenny Tower, just because I regretted all of my choices immediately and then had to start over. But these are stories for another time. We were talking about Fallout 1, not Fallout 3. I can go into this as much as I want to once I talk about Fallout 3 sometime in the future. But also, this is making me want to play Fallout 1 a lot more. I know it's a lot different of a game, but it would be really cool to experience, I think. So the plot of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 mirror Fallout 1, with someone leaving a vault and encountering a small town before reaching the large settlement. After this, the player solves their initial goal only to be greeted by a larger problem and aided by another entity that they can either side with or destroy to fix this problem. So that's basically the story. But one of my favorite things about the Fallout series, like just all the games that I've seen and played and whatnot, is the world building. I know I'm singing so much I'm singing so much praise for Fallout just because it's such a great series. It's one of my absolute favorites. So let's talk about some locations in Fallout. Alright, so we'll start with Vault 13, the Vault Dweller's home. So the first quest in the game is to find a replacement for the vault's broken water purification chip, as we already talked about. None of the inhabitants are permitted to leave the vault under the leadership of the vault's overseer, who is dedicated to protecting and sheltering them. Vault 13 was probably located under Mount Whitney, as it roughly matches the location of the mountainside. Vault 13 may also refer to a mountain in Indian Wells Valley, with the bounds of the Naval Air Weapon Station at China Lake known as B Mountain. The mountain looks very similar to illustrations of the location in the game and is rumored to have a large underground research center inside. Another vault within the game is Vault 15, and Vault 15 was once occupied by an enormous number of people of very different ideologies and cultures. The overcrowding and the diversification led to the leaving of 4 different groups, 3 of them forming each one raiding group: the Khans, the Vipers, and the Jackals, and one of them settling down and founding Shady Sands. Vault 15 is now lair to several mutated animals. This is probably the Dweller's first attempt to find a water purification chip. Why do I keep saying chip, although it is nowhere to be found here. So then Shady Sands was created by a group of former Vault 15 inhabitants, and it's a small village between Vault 13 and Vault 15. Shady Sands is ruled by Aradesh, who asked the Vault Dweller to help get rid of the rad scorpions, who are threatening the village. Here, the Vault Dweller can recruit Ian, and it is also possible to recruit, quote-unquote, Tandy, which is the daughter of Aradesh, by not returning her to town after her kidnapping. An obelisk in the center of the city has the inscriptions, "In remind of hope and peace." Then there's the Khans Raider Camp, which is run by the clan of raiders known as the Khans, who are also from Vault 15, and it's led by a man named Garl. And it's a camp set up pretty close to Shady Sands. So Tandy, Aradesh's daughter, is eventually kidnapped by the camp's raiders, and it's up to the Vault Dweller to save her, choosing from a variety of methods. There is also Junktown, which is surrounded by piles of wrecked cars. It is run by the shop owner Killian Darkwater, who is also the sheriff and grandson of the town's founder. Junktown's gates are closed in the night, and drawing weapons is not allowed except in self-defense. So Gizmo, the town's casino owner, wants Killian dead because he cramps my business. That's a direct quote. You're welcome. The player can choose to either help Killian or Gizmo, and the Vault Dweller can then recruit Taicho and Dogmeat from this town. Then there is also the Hub, which is the major commercial town, and it is the most quest-filled location on the map in the game. It is divided into several districts, each one controlled by a powerful group of people. So there are the Water Merchants, the Crimson Caravan, and the Fargo Traders. Here, the Vault Dweller can send merchants to Vault 13 to extend the time limit in which they must find a water chip, and the hub's approximate location corresponds to Lancaster, California. There's also Necropolis, which is the remains of what was once Bakersfield, and it's overrun by ghouls and containing a vast sewer system. Necropolis is the aftermath of Vault 12, and Vault 12 was designed by the Enclave so that its door could not close and the vault's occupants would be exposed to high doses of radiation. This led to the transformation of its inhabitants into ghouls after the Great War. That's something else I'd like to do an episode just on the different Fallout vaults, like doing deep dives, or maybe like pick a vault and do a deep dive, and then have another episode being picking a vault and doing a deep dive, or maybe like 3 in 1, because there's just so many vaults between the 5 games, and they all have so many different things going on inside of them, and there's a lot of like dark, twisted tales, just because the vaults were, while they were like fallout shelters, they were also pretty much for the government to kind of experiment on its people, since like what is there to do after the world has ended, you know? So let me know if you want to see that. Maybe you can send me some suggestions to ratedlforlore@gmail.com. I'm still waiting on an email. Please send me an email. Okay, enough ASMR. Laughing hurts. Ow. Okay, sorry. So, the ghouls were divided into 3 groups. The surface dwellers, who are the most numerous and paranoid about non-ghouls and outsiders. The glowing ones, which are heavily irradiated ghouls, rejected even by their own. And then the so-called underground ghouls living in the city sewers. It is here that the Vault Dweller finds the water chip while observing an unusual super mutant invasion, which may be a serious threat to humanity's future. Oh, also, before I move on to the last few locations in this game, like major locations in this game, let me post another query for you. Would you consider ghouls to be zombies? Because I know technically they're not. Like, this is a debate I've had before, and I know I've lost it many times before, but I'm still not finished. I have a microphone and an audience that I can yell to. So someone please validate me or give me some in-depth proof as to why I'm wrong. Do you think ghouls are zombies. Send me your answers on Twitter at 4_lore. You can even comment on Instagram because I'm probably going to make an Instagram post about this. Tell me on the Facebook page. Send me an email about it. Come on. I need to be proven right on this, even if I'm wrong. Someone validate me, please. Sorry. I don't know why I'm so passionate about this, but I am. So, anyway, Boneyard. The Boneyard, also known as the Angel's Boneyard, is the remaining portion of the Los Angeles cityscape. This is one of the later towns that the Vault Dweller may visit, receiving upgrades for endgame equipment, the Turbo Plasma Rifle, and hardened power armor. The player may also recruit Katya here. There's also the Lost Hills Bunker, which is simply shown as Brotherhood of Steel in the Pip-Boy 2000, because it's the HQ for the Brotherhood of Steel. And it's an organization with roots in the U.S. military and government-sponsored scientific community from before the Great War. The outpost consists of 4 underground levels, with level 1 closest to the surface and level 4 the furthest underground, and level 0 is the on-ground entrance. There is also the Glow, which is formerly known as West Tech Research Facility. The Glow is now an irradiated ruin. It is here that the experiments were conducted on laser and plasma weapons, and the development of the FEV and power armor took place. The Glow is controlled by a mainframe called Zax, and it is the Vault Dweller's objective to retrieve a piece of evidence for the Brotherhood of Steel, which is a holodisk left by a fallen Brotherhood of Steel member that proves he entered the location. The difficulty in this assignment is that the Glow is highly radioactive, and the player must consume anti-radiation drugs to survive their visit. A player unaware of this zone's high radiation levels would find themselves quickly succumbing to radiation poisoning. Then there is the Mariposa military base, which is a former military base where research was conducted on the FEV, which was previously conducted in the West Tech Research Facility, and this is where new super mutants are created. Then the final location I have to mention to you guys is the Cathedral, which is a place where the Children of the Cathedral organization, which is a facade for the Master's plans, can be found. And then beneath the cathedral lies a secret vault wherein the Master resides. So if you want to play this game like I do, there are new box editions of the game published from time to time, which usually are included on one DVD together with Fallout 2 and Fallout Tactics. Fallout is also available for gold members and sometimes free members at GameTap, which requires the GameTap client to play. It can also be purchased at GOG.com. Interplay has also struck a deal releasing their own DRM-free copies of Fallout, Fallout 2, and Fallout Tactics as a set. In early 2014, Steam, as well as GOG, removed Fallout, as well as Fallout 2 and Tactics from purchase availability as a result of the license changing hands. And Bethesda stated that they will definitely be bringing the games back to Steam, but has made no confirmation as to whether or not they will be returning to the other distribution platforms. Sometime around June 2014, the games returned to Steam, while in August 2015, they became available again through GOG.com. And then on September 30th, 2017, the release date of the game in 1997, as a celebration of Fallout's 20th anniversary, Bethesda gave away Fallout for free on Steam until 11:59 Pacific Time, and Fallout, Fallout 2, and Fallout Tactics are all given for free with the purchase of Fallout 76 on PC. So basically, if you want to play the game, it should be on Steam, or you get it for free with Fallout 76 if you buy it on PC. So, yeah, I think I might be looking up this game on Steam later. You never know. Although I might save that to play another time. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But, yeah, that's pretty much what I have for you. Just kind of talking through this game's stuff. Yeah. I'm sure there are some Fallout theories that are kind of all-encompassing for the games that I can talk about sometime in the future. There's plenty more topics to be had here. There's plenty more episode and theory fodder. Also, what I think is kind of funny is a week after I did a Pokemon ghostly haunted themed episode, just like yesterday, Game Theory uploaded an episode about ghosts in Pokemon. Totally not the same topic exactly, but I still thought it was kind of funny. So head over to Game Theory and watch that. You're welcome for the free promotion, Matt Pat. JK, you are much bigger than me, but still, I am an fan. Okay, I'm just rambling. I'm high on painkillers. Can you even be high on painkillers? I don't know, but I'm gonna spend some quality time with these doggos. And if you want to answer any of the questions I have posed here, you want to give me any Fallout theories that you enjoy, talk about your love of Fallout with me, you can connect with me on Twitter at 4_lore, on Facebook and Instagram at ratedL4lore. Please send me an email at ratedL4lore@gmail.com. I'm still waiting for emails. I am also waiting for reviews, so please submit your reviews on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can listen to any previous episodes, or you can wait around for next week's episode. Anywhere you listen to podcasts. We are on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Google Podcasts, on YouTube. Really, really, anywhere you listen to podcasts, I am there yelling at you about ghouls being zombies. But yeah, I'm gonna probably take a nap with these dogs. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Y'all are the best.